I'm super excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. And when I came across your page and I thought like, oh my God, this girl, I need to get in the call with you. And because there's something behind the story that you're not telling us.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to know.
Let's do it.
So the question here is, behind the branding that you have on the platform, can you tell us like what is it that you for who you are on the inside that people don't know about you?
Well, what people don't really realize is that I'm actually very sensitive and I take things to heart. But I truly believe that being sensitive is a superpower because if I wasn't so sensitive, I wouldn't care so much. And if I didn't care so much, I would not be doing what I'm doing. Like,
Right.
when you watch my podcast, you see like a fiery, loud, very outspoken. And that's true. But that comes from a place of very deep sensitivity.
Amazing.
I feel like everyone should embrace their sensitivity because it really is a gift.
Amazing. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And like you have a story about like the book that you just got me one, The Art of Miracles.
Yes.
What inspired you to write that book? Like, tell us something about that book. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
But what was the book that inspired you to write that book?
Well, when I was younger, I was the biggest bookworm ever. Like, you would always find my head in a book. You'd always find me at the library. But when I got older, I started to meditate as a practice, and in one of those meditations, I actually had a vision that I wrote a book. And that really stuck with me. And I think it changed my life actually, because after that, everything I did was to get that book out. Like, I spent 3 years writing the book. It was the hardest 3 years of my life because I didn't know anything about publishing and I was new to the writing world. I just knew that I meant to write a book, and I need to follow this vision. So I did. And last year, October, it finally got published. And I didn't know, but if I could tell my younger self back then, I ended up winning an award for it. I ended up winning International Best Author Award. And that would never have happened if I did not follow my vision.
Wow. So you say 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
And you had no one there with
Nobody,
you?
yeah. Because when I told people I want to write a book, they laughed at me because they were like, "You're too young. You're not qualified to write a book." That's what I heard from everybody. I heard it from friends, family. I heard it from teachers. I heard it from everybody. Like, nobody believed that I was able to do that. And I think that just became more motivation for me,
There you go. You needed that to push you forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got me the book,
Yeah.
and I'm super excited to read it. And it says The Art of Miracles. So that title got me wondering how come you call that book?
Well, actually, my favorite book of all time is called The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And I read that book when I was younger, and it's probably one of the best books I've ever read of all time. So when it came time, when my book was done, and I wanted to name the book, that was the name I picked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you actually used inspiration to inspire
Yeah.
from that book. Okay. So moving, like when you have that success, like the journey that you have for yourself from the platform, from what you were doing to give that warmth to the community, to impact.
Yeah.
But what was the most thing that you had to do? What was that thing that brought you here? Like, because we all come from somewhere. We all come from nothing. I believe that, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have, like a journey where a story will tell you that what brought you here.
Yeah.
What did you have to do that got you here today to where you are right now?
Yeah. I think there was a moment in my life where I was just living for other people because I had so many expectations placed on me when I was younger that I tried to fulfill each and every single one of those expectations. I really did. And I fulfilled all of those expectations, and it still wasn't enough for those people. And I did everything. Like, I molded myself into the person they wanted me to become, and it still wasn't enough. And I think in that moment, I realized that nothing I ever do is ever going to be enough for these people. In that moment, I wanted to do things for myself. Like, I wanted to be who I truly was without the expectations of other people or who other people wanted me to be. And in that moment, I started looking for answers, and that's when I turned to meditation, actually. And I would really say meditation changed my life. That's why I wrote The Art of Miracles, because my book is about how meditation can change your life. Like, I truly believe in that,
Right on. I believe in that too. Meditation is what transforms your life. All about your mind and your breathing, technique, and all that, right? Have you heard of Joe Dispenza?
Yes, I have.
This man has changed my life.
He's brilliant. He's
Have
brilliant.
you heard of the book called Becoming Supernatural.
Yes, I haven't read it yet though.
That book is a life-changing book, and like you mentioned about meditation,
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that it also actually brought you to where you are today.
Yeah.
Meditation, the visualization,
Mm-hmm.
the law of
Yeah.
attraction. So, but the thing with you said about the family, if the family that
Yeah.
you have a lot of expectation from
Mm-hmm.
you, and you say that, okay, I'm gonna do it for myself.
Yeah.
But also, what was something that broke you the most when you were going through that in your life?
Yeah.
And what was something that you felt insecure about
Mm-hmm.
throughout the journey? Like, I'm sure we all have fears, we all
Yeah.
have, insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it that you had when you were when you were on that journey?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, the moment that broke me was when I actually became all of those expectations. Like I was getting the highest grades. I just did everything for those people. I really did everything. And when it still wasn't enough, like they still weren't happy with me. And in that moment, like I was so heartbroken because I just thought to myself, I did all of that for you. Like I did that for you. And that's when I realized that to live for other people's expectations is going to be a very miserable life. Like when you live your life based on other people, based on what other people want you to do, based on what other people want you to say, based on what other people want you to believe in, it's very miserable because those people, and I'm being completely honest, they are projecting their own pain onto you.
Absolutely.
They don't feel good enough for themselves, so that's why they try and make you feel not good enough.
100%.
It's really just a projection of what they're going through onto you. So to internalize those expectations and make them your own, it's very, very sad. And to answer your second question about my insecurity, actually, when I was younger, I was very blunt, very outspoken, very loud. But growing up, like society tries to dim your light. Like they try and make you submissive and quiet, especially coming from like a Pakistani culture. I feel like one of the double expectations is that women are expected to be a certain way. Like we're expected to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, like very submissive,
Yeah.
just kind of listening to everyone. And that for a long time I struggled with speaking up, being loud and being passionate. And I know it might sound shocking because when you watch my podcast, you're like, wait a minute, you're actually so loud. Yeah, but it took a lot. It took a lot to be that loud.
Wow, that's inspiring. So you
Yeah.
took that step
Mm-hmm.
towards for yourself, especially coming from a Middle Eastern
Yeah.
family.
Mm-hmm.
What was something that you believe that you were truly gifted for, and your purpose in this life right now, and what is your goal moving forward that we're talking right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually curious because when you have this platform on social media and you're putting the words out there for people and they're actually getting inspired,
Yeah.
that's me right here.
Mm-hmm.
You're very inspiring, and you actually make me want to push myself.
Oh my gosh.
Like this is why I wanted to be here with you today, and I'm super grateful. But I feel like there's something that you are not telling us, that
Yeah.
you have this gift in you. But what do you think that is?
I truly believe it's intuition. Like, I cannot tell you the amount of situations I've been saved from because I followed my gut. Like, I believe that intuition is a sixth sense. And like all of our other five senses, it needs to be practiced in order to be developed. So we can really reap the rich rewards of it.
Yeah.
Intuition is your gut. When you have a bad feeling about someone, listen to it because your intuition is never wrong. If you have a bad feeling about a situation, listen to it because that feeling is never wrong. There were times in my life where other people made me doubt my intuition. And, I had bad feeling about people, bad feeling about situations, and I ignored them. And I learned the hard way that my gut was right. That's why I'm like the biggest advocate for intuition. I believe that is all of our greatest gifts. We just have to tap into it,
Right. And like you mentioned about intuition,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes people would ignore it.
Yeah.
But for you, like yourself, that you had experiences that you ignore,
Mm-hmm.
why you think that was that you ignore?
What do you mean?
Your intuition?
Yeah.
That time when you felt that something bad was gonna happen, but you ignore it.
Yeah.
How come you ignore it at that time
Yeah.
when you knew the intuition is something that gives us intuition?
Yeah.
First of all, is our first brain.
Mm-hmm.
Brain up here is the second brain.
Yeah.
The intuition is our
yes.
first brain.
Yes, that's awesome.
Right? So that's what do you think that was?
Well, it took me a long time to realize that intuition is a gift because I feel like in today's society, we try and dim that light. Like we are trained and taught to listen to society, what expectations, other people, that we kind of learned to squish this intuition. But I will tell you one story. There was one person in my mutual friend group that all my friends liked, okay? Everybody liked this person, everybody. But the moment I laid eyes on her, I just had a bad feeling. I really did. I had a really bad feeling. But all my friends were like, she's so kind-hearted. She has like the best heart. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Let's just give her a chance.
Right.
So we ended up like doing business together, and she screwed me over like so bad. And I told everyone that I said to you guys from the beginning that there's something wrong with this girl, and you didn't listen to me. And now look,
Ouch.
yeah. And that's when I learned, I can't keep getting screwed over like this. I gotta listen to my gut. Like that's when I really learned.
Yeah, that's the lesson right there.
Yeah, it really is.
But like whatever comes around, whatever you goes around comes back to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely. Okay, so like for the gift that you have, your intuition,
Yeah.
is that part of your purpose here too as well?
Yes, because I feel like intuition is our guide. Like, in today's world, we can get so lost by all the problems and the pain that's happening in our own lives and in the world. I feel like intuition is that guide that will lead you to the right places, to the right people, to the right situations if we really tap into it. Intuition is all of our greatest gifts. It's just that we haven't tapped into it fully to understand its true potential.
100%.
Yeah.
And for right now that people are watching us, those ones who are struggling to listen to their intuition or trying to tap into their inner self, what do you think? What would you say that they should work on to improve that?
I think meditation, because meditation, I'll tell you, it forces your mind to go quiet. And you don't realize how devastatingly loud your mind is until you actually sit down and try and focus, right?
Okay.
Meditation is focusing the mind on just being present in the now, on being present in this moment without any, negativity or self-doubting thoughts. That all comes from the mind. This all comes from the mind. And the more we meditate, the more our mind goes still. And the more our mind goes still, the more we can live more presently in each moment. We can enjoy what's really happening around us instead of being stuck in the past, or worrying about the future.
Yeah.
That all comes from meditation because it really trains your mind.
Wow. Yeah. When you mention that, it reminds me of my moment of like when I meditate. I learned this from Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
I was reading this book, Becoming Supernatural, and I learned how to meditate. So I sat on the ground and I thought to myself, I closed my eyes. We have energy be stored in different parts of our body, right? So I closed my eyes, I put my hands together and take a deep breath. And I thought to myself, just release whatever is not serving as your highest self version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
I told myself, I felt my energy to bring from here to my heart and then to my throat.
Wow, yeah.
And then I felt it. All the energy was like trying to store up in one part of energy, and I bring it all the way up to my hand. And then eventually I connect to the highest divine.
Wow.
From the energy in my hand to above my head.
That's insane.
And when I was meditating at that moment, I was like crying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was crying because, like you said, meditation helps you with your intuition, with your energy in your body be stored. Like, if you, for example, you in one of your videos, you were talking about like triggers. You were talking about how people are struggling with, be able to overcome the fear or be able to do something, like writing a book, for example.
Yeah.
Meditation is what gets you to do things. But at that time, the reason why I did meditation because I was so afraid of speaking. I was so afraid of speaking on the podcast. And I sat down and I told myself, you know what, just breathe.
Yeah.
And then I let go, and that moment I felt the energy just kind of like release, and even my eyes were closed.
Wow.
I saw the light.
That's wow.
I felt I was floating off the ground. I was floating, and I felt as if I was connected to the high divine.
Wow.
And I all of a sudden saw the vision, and I felt like really happy, like genuinely happy, like pure. And I felt in harmony with my own elements, with my own, my own parts of my body.
Yeah.
It's like insane. And it's like I can't stress enough about meditation. Like you kept
Yeah.
mentioning
Mm-hmm.
meditation is so important
Yeah.
because do you believe when someone say the outside of the world that whatever you see right now
Mm-hmm.
is because of your inside world?
Yes, I completely believe in that because your mind actually creates your reality. Now, this might kind of sound crazy at first, but when you really understand it, you'll understand what I mean. When you wake up, you are having thoughts all day long, okay? You are consuming so much content. That could be a lot, that could be very negative, by the way. Your whole environment is basically influencing your mind. And,
Yes.
actions come from thoughts, and thoughts come from feelings. So if your feelings and thoughts aren't aligned with the greater good, your actions won't be either. And this could be, looking like scrolling 3 hours on TikTok,
Yeah.
your feelings and thoughts are not aligned, and so now you're wasting time. Or, if you truly feel not worthy, and then you're gonna start having thoughts like, I don't really feel worthy, then your action is, you could take on a toxic friend, you could end up in a toxic relationship. So it really does come from our mind, because you can literally be in the most peaceful environment, but if you are mentally stressed out, you're not going to enjoy the beauty around you.
Absolutely.
Like, so many people, they live life based on their head. Like, they're just stuck in their head. They can't enjoy the beauty of the present moment because they're so worried about the future, and they're so stressed out about the past. Like, the past is gone.
Yeah.
It's never coming back. It's done and gone. The only way you remember the past is based on memories that's in your head, and the future hasn't even come yet. This is why we call the present a gift, because it really is. The present is a present, and it's the gift of now. We want to live now. We want to start enjoying this present moment now.
Yeah. 100%. Oh my god. This you know a lot about
Yeah.
meditation. Wow. This is a very good reminder to always live in the present moment.
Yes.
Because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You can never know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But living in the present moment and enjoying the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But your outside world comes from the inside world.
Yeah.
And I say that because a lot of times, where this world
Yeah.
has a whole balance of poor, poverty, and the
Mm-hmm.
wealth.
Yeah.
I oftentimes this is like out of like ordinary discussion, but like have you heard of people say that how come there's wealthy people
Yeah.
and how come there's poverty?
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes to the mindset.
Yeah.
There was a time where a guy I know myself who literally lived in a poverty. I would talk about, for example, myself, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I was coming from a very poor family,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember sleeping on the street
Yeah.
growing up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
In Toronto, I would sleep on the street. I was living with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I was like only 4 years old.
Yeah.
I would sleep on the floor, and I grew up over the time. I was thinking to myself like, how come wealthy people get to be wealthy
Mm-hmm.
and poor people get to be poor?
Yeah.
And that's where it got me to learn about meditation,
Yeah.
to learn about Joe Dispenza, like when you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole life literally flipped,
Wow.
switch
Yeah.
from there. My income went from one
Mm-hmm.
source of income to over 7 sources of income
Yeah.
or more,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all about here.
Yeah.
The book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That book also changed my life because there was a chapter that talks about faith
Yeah.
in that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have faith, let's go back to what you were saying. Like, for example, you said your thoughts creates the energy
Yeah.
to feelings,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a whole cycle, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that it would not be effective
Yeah.
if you did not have faith,
Very true.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I remember myself trying to meditate,
Yeah.
trying to manifest, but I did not have faith.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep doubting myself, but I would just talking to myself.
Yeah.
I would do affirmations, and then I did not have faith. It did not work out.
Yeah. Wow.
Until over the time, faith come to my heart,
Wow.
a place in my heart, and that's where my life changed. And here I am.
That's amazing.
So yeah, and it's just like very interesting when it comes to
Yeah.
meditation. And also, I believe we're both here
Yeah.
because we all have the level of frequency.
For sure.
You're you shift that level of
Mhm.
frequency. I have come to that point,
Yeah.
and now here we are.
Yeah, I feel like this was divinely orchestrated because I feel like two souls don't meet by accident.
Yes.
So for sure. But what you said about faith is I really believe in that because if you give up, you're never gonna know how good it'll get. Like
Yes.
you will know how bad it is because you gave up.
Yes.
But you'll never actually know what's around the corner. Like there were so many times within those 3 years I wanted to stop writing my book because I had 18 drafts of my first book, and each of those drafts had thousands of words each.
Wow.
And there were like a ton of mistakes, and it just wasn't, there were days I had the worst writer's block ever, and the blank page was way bigger than any wall I'd ever encountered.
No
And it
way.
was just so hard. But I keep reminding myself if I had given up on any of those points, like I wouldn't be here today talking to you. I wouldn't have won an award for my book. All the people that watch my content and have read my book and their lives have changed, none of that would have happened.
Right.
But only because I didn't give up, And I truly believe faith is such an important factor of your success. Because if you give up before things get good, you'll never actually get to experience that.
Absolutely. So for you to get to where you are today, we oftentimes have to let go of certain things in our life.
Yeah.
One is either a thing, a
Mhm.
person, or a situation.
Yeah.
But I truly believe we all have different version of ourselves
Yeah.
when we get to the next chapter of our
Mhm.
life. So for you, coming from where you were in the past
Yeah.
to where you are right now,
Hmm.
what did you have to let go? What did you have to be to actually become who you are today? What did you have to let go?
I had to let go of beliefs. I had to let go of people. I had to let go of identities because no one talks about like the climb to success is so much more painful than the fall to failure. Because when you're climbing the ladder of success, you're gonna lose so many friends. Like you are gonna stop talking to so many people. And I heard of this before, but I never really believed it until I started becoming successful and hitting certain goals in my life. And I lost so many people because you really don't know what people's true intentions are unless they show you. Right?
Yes.
And they're not gonna show you, but it's always gonna come out in actions, Like the same people that were cheering for me when I first told them I wanted to write a book, when my book actually came out, they disappeared. Like they were not happy at all. And that's when I realized, like, wow, I had to let go of a lot of toxic friends. And I didn't even realize they were toxic.
They just disappear.
They just disappeared because I'll tell you, there's an exercise I want everyone who's listening to try. Like, if you are the one reaching out to all of your friends and like instigating conversations and all of that, stop reaching out and then you'll see who really cares about you. Because I stopped reaching out a few years ago and I have not heard from those people since because they were just responding.
Wow.
Communication is a choice that both people have to make. Like, I see a lot of girls and they complain, oh my God, he blocked me, but I think he still likes you. If he blocked you, that is the answer. He gave you the answer.
Yes.
Silence is a response, But why are we
Absolutely.
putting ourselves in situations where we are the ones instigating and we are the ones making all the effort? Unless it's balanced, then why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
Because like I said, you don't know people's true intentions. I had like a lot of people secretly were jealous. There's another story. So I was working with a friend back in LA and we were planning to do like a shoot, a whole campaign together and everything. So when it came time for the actual campaign, the campaign said they liked me more, right? So they wanted me more present in like the pictures and the interviews and all of that. And the friend I was originally supposed to go on with, she went to the organizers, started trash talking me to get me out of the campaign. Now, obviously, they liked me, so they told me, like, oh, by the way, do you know your friend, said this about you? And I was like, oh my God, I thought we were in this together. I've learned the hard way, like, you really can't trust anybody. When you're working on a goal, do it in silence. When you're working on something, do it in silence. Let your success speak the noise. Let your success do all the talking for you.
Yeah.
Because if you tell people prematurely, you are allowing yourself to be sabotaged.
Yeah. Wow. So that's wow. But okay, so this situation that you were going through, you said everyone disappearing, you like
Yeah.
most friends that you've had.
Mm-hmm.
Like is it because they were uncomfortable of who you were becoming? Because I've heard people say that oftentimes they were comfortable be allowing you to be that same version of
Yes.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you shift and go to the next level, they feel threatened in some ways.
Yes.
Like I'm saying to you, like what was that reason for them to disappear on you? Like what did you think that was?
No, well, some of them I actually fell out with because they couldn't handle the fact that I was shining my light. You know,
Right.
you'll be surprised how many friends you earn by dimming your light. And you'll also be surprised how many friends you lose by shining your light. Because people only like you, some people only like you if you're shining less than them. The moment you go bigger and you start to expand and you start to shine a little brighter, you're gonna lose so many friends. You
Yeah.
might even fall out with friends. They might even try to sabotage you because once you really start shining your light, the people who are for you will come. But in order to get those true people, you got to get rid of all these fake friends, you know?
What is your long game in this right now that you have, share everything with me? And by the way, which is very
Yeah,
inspiring.
thank you.
You have overcome so many things. You don't let no one
Yeah.
to step in your way or stop you from doing what you truly believe in your heart. What is your now the long game moving forward? And like you said, you would love to impact as many people,
Yeah.
inspire as many people. I'm sure you will surprise me every day
Yeah.
for whatever you do. You go, girl.
Yeah, thank you.
But but what is your long game moving forward? Like, what is your goal? What is your empire
Yeah.
in this?
Like I said, I want to help as many people as I can. Like, I want people to read my book, to watch my content, and their lives get transformed. Because I have so many people already telling me that. Like, my true purpose in life is to help others. I want to inspire as many people as I can. I want to empower as many people as I can. I want to change the lives of
Yes.
people. Like, there's nothing truly more fulfilling than doing that. You know, because if you chase success without a purpose, you will get those goals and you'll feel emptier than you did trying to achieve those goals because you're not helping anybody. You know, at the end of the day, like we all have a very short time here on earth.
Okay.
And of course, I believe that life will continue, but in a different form. But we have a very short time here. You know, at some point, we're all going to leave this earth. And looking back at your life, how much more would you have loved? You know, how much more would you have helped people? Did you really accomplish the things you wanted to do? Did you chase your dreams? Like I ask myself that every single day because I don't want to live a life full of regret. That I look back and I think I could have helped so many more people.
Yeah.
You know, because living a life of selfishness, there's no impact in that. Like you only harm more than you're doing good, you know? So I really, 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 truly believe in helping people. Like that is my purpose.
Amazing. I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for you. And something came up in my head. We had a conversation earlier about your video
Yeah.
that actually went viral. What you were talking about in that video, jealousy.
Yeah.
You say you have a long game ahead of you, but you also mentioned about that video that went viral
Yeah.
about jealousy. Do you think that's something will follow you to the long game?
Yeah. No, the thing is, that's why I don't tell people specifically what my long game is.
No.
Like, you know the purpose, you know the goal that's helping people. But when I do my next big moves, you'll hear about it. I don't need to tell you. Because if I tell people beforehand, I don't mind telling you later, but right? But if I tell people, like if I post about it, if I start sharing it to all the people that follow me, you know, and things get delayed, and you know things start to go wrong because it's happened to me before, especially when I was writing my book. You know, I had people try and sabotage it. You know, from like, oh, don't teach her how to write. Like what? You know, seriously, I had some people. They were like trash talking my book before it even came out. They didn't even know what it was about, but they knew I was writing a book. And that's, you know, looking back at these past experiences, I realized that it would have been better if I didn't say anything. Only because I told people, then they knew what my plans were, and then they could sabotage it. So I truly believe if you want to protect your success, you got to do it in silence.
Yes, absolutely. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you truly believe that by not telling people your next move has higher chance of you making that happen than you telling people your next move it's more likely that you won't make it happen.
No, because me personally, I know how harmful jealousy can be because I've experienced it so many times. If I never experienced jealousy, I would be telling everybody everything. I'd be telling everybody my plans, who I'm hanging out with. You know, so many people, they're wondering where I am. Like, they're wondering who I'm with. Like, you don't know. And I'm not going to tell people because that's how things get ruined. I've experienced it myself. So, you know, it's different when you hear about it as a quote and then you actually live through it. And I'm not telling people as a quote, I'm telling people because I lived through it. Jealousy is real. And when you go run your mouth off and tell everybody your plans, you are more at risk of being sabotaged. It happened to me many times and I've learned never again, never again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But you know, the only way I say this to myself,
Yeah.
for what I believe, we need more haters.
We need more haters?
It's true. We do. We need more haters, right?
Yeah. No, can I be honest? Like, all these haters, I'm being honest. Like, I have a lot of haters because, you know, when you're successful and when you're in your purpose, some people, they just can't stand to see that. They can't stand to see that. And all I got to say to them, you want to know? Just 2 words. Keep watching.
It's true. I think we definitely need more haters. That's why we're on the podcast right now.
For real. This is a message to haters as well. Like, if you hate on people, you got no life.
Exactly.
Really, like you really don't have a life. If you're up in my comments typing long paragraphs about what you don't like and what didn't resonate, please, like, this is unemployed behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, get busy, pick up a hobby, do something productive.
But you know the thing, when I say, when I hear or see it, that I have haters, you know what I tell them?
What?
I love you. I love you. I know you want to be like us. I know you want to be like me. You know they want to be like you. That's why they're hating on you.
You know what I tell my haters? Love yourself. Because if you truly loved yourself, you wouldn't be here hating on me.
Oh my God, that's true, actually.
Yeah, because we can love the haters as much as we want. You know why? Because we're confident within ourselves. Like, we have self-love. We know who we are.
Yes.
So we don't get dragged down by these haters. The haters don't love themselves. Yes. That's why they have to hate. They have to drag other people down because they themselves don't feel good enough. You know?
Yes.
So to all the haters, love yourself, you know?
There's a psychology that I was reading that I learned about that says haters hate because they were projecting themselves on you.
Yes. Oh my God. That is
something that
true.
they cannot achieve or do when they see you doing it.
Yeah.
Like you would say, it's projection.
Yeah,
right?
Literally, yeah. Because, you know, people, they just, if they're not fulfilled in their own lives, they cannot stand seeing other people become successful. It is like a bullet to them. Now, if you're happy in your own life, you wouldn't care. If someone is doing better than you, good to them. If someone's doing worse, like, you know, I hope it gets better. You wouldn't care. You'd be detached. But because people, they're not happy with themselves, they're not happy with their life, the moment they see someone successful and in their purpose, there's a reaction. They become bitter. They become resentful. They start hating, you know? That's why. That is the true psychology of haters. Because they're not happy with themselves. So they have to hate on you.
I don't know who our audience is going to be, but it could be the world right now watching us. If the world is watching us right now and you have one mattress that is real, that is raw, that is, you know, 100% beautiful, true.
Yeah.
But everything that you've been through in your life, what is one message that you would like to share with all the women and men that are trying to get to where you are right now, or try to be successful right now?
There's only 3 words, and it is know your worth. Because when you truly know your worth, you're not going to dim your light for other people. You're not going to end up in toxic relationships. You're not going to put yourself in situations where you can be undermined. Because knowing your worth, you know who you are. Like, there's a saying, don't put pearls in front of swine. Now, why would you not actually put pearls in front of swine? Why? Because you know the value of a pearl. So you would never like dirty it in mud or like rocks or stone, whatever, right? Because you know how valuable the pearl is. So why do you treat yourself like swine? If you really knew how valuable and how worthy and how loved you are, you would never be putting yourself in situations that make you feel the opposite, that make you feel unworthy, that make you feel unloved, that make you feel not deserving. You know, it's all about knowing your worth. You know, when I really shifted into knowing my worth, like the people I have in my life today are the most genuine and authentic. Like, but I had to let go of so many fake and inauthentic people to get those people. But
Yes.
the only reason that happened is because I started to know my worth. Now, you might be wondering, like, how do I know my worth? First of all, you got to cut the people off who make you feel unworthy. Because we don't actually realize that we aren't born thinking we're unworthy. We aren't born hating ourselves. We learn
Oh yeah.
to hate ourselves.
Wow.
And we learn that from the environment around us. So first you got to get rid of that environment that's making you feel this way. The moment you change your environment to people who support you genuinely, to an opportunity, environment where you're growing and getting opportunities, you will see your self-worth start to shift. Like the biggest way to discover your self-worth is you have to get rid of what's making you feel unworthy.
Absolutely.
Like that is what I'd say to everybody listening.
Wow. Yeah, knowing your worth is absolutely, absolutely the main thing. Yes, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Because, for many years myself,
Mm-hmm.
coming from, a family from a Middle Eastern,
Yeah.
knowing your worth can be very tough
Mm-hmm.
in that situation, right? So yes, that's a very important message. So is there something like you want to add about like the book, or add about like what the business that you trying to build for yourself, or the vision that you would like to grow for yourself? Is there like anything?
Yeah, well, I would definitely advise people to start becoming financially literate. Like,
Okay.
there's so many money opportunities around us if we look, right?
Right.
Like, we live in an age where we can become rich basically off of our phones. I would advise people to learn the stock market. I would advise people to learn crypto. I would advise people to start learning investing because we live in a new world and the world is changing rapidly every day. We have more opportunities than ever before. So I would
Right.
definitely advise people to start becoming financially literate.
Absolutely. And coming from that, I do cryptocurrency
Yeah.
forex trading 100%. It's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
And what you say, like you can now rely on one source of income.
Yeah, well, I have a few. I have cryptocurrency. I have, my book. I do some coaching on the side,
Good for you.
actually, for teenagers my age. Yeah, I
Good for
do
you.
coaching for teenagers my age. Because Gen Z, we need to be more empowered,
Yes.
I feel like Gen Z is the generation that's going to bring the change,
Absolutely.
because Gen Z is unlearning all the other generations' issues. We're unlearning that. So I feel like coaching Gen Z is so important.
Yes.
Like, because we are the future. We are bringing the change now,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And what do you say about nowadays that people are like you? There was there was something that you mentioned about knowing your worth,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had times where I hear people saying that they lose their value, they lose their worth, not
Mm-hmm.
because of people, but not because of the situation,
Yeah.
but what's happening right now around this world.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the AI.
Yeah.
What is something that you have to say to those people that feel like, oh my god, like they have all their education, they have all their
Yeah.
experiences, they have all the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, they feel that. What do you mean by? So the real question is, knowing your worth is by standing up for yourself
Yeah.
and go for what you believe in, what you truly believe that you deserve,
Mm-hmm.
right? But how would you say that you know what you truly deserve when you don't know?
No, well, if you don't know, that's because you don't know truly your worth. So, okay, you deserve to be treated like a queen or a king.
Yes.
Now, if something comes up in you when I say that, do you believe that wholeheartedly?
Yes.
Do your friends treat you like you deserve nothing but the best? If not, then you got to start making changes, because all of us, we all deserve to be healthy, happy, fulfilled. We deserve that. That is our birthright. To live in happiness and joy is our birthright.
Yeah.
Right? But we forget that because the world is so chaotic and like we meet toxic people and we're
Yeah.
put in like toxic situations. But just remembering that it is our birthright to have joy, to have love, to have connection, to have experience.
Absolutely.
Knowing that truth, then you can start making the changes in your life. That's when you can start, adjusting your friend group or, picking up a hobby that you love or putting yourself in an environment where you can really grow,
Right. And you say knowing your truth oftentimes, how would you like, because for example, Joe Dispenza, when
Yeah.
it comes to meditation,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes knowing your truth is by reprogramming your subconscious
Mm-hmm. That's a very important part.
and having that belief in your mind. You have to watch what your mind is telling you.
Yeah.
So, like from what you were saying, there's a lot of people right now outside of the world, I might be believing things that think it could be right, but it's not. Like,
Yeah.
for example, you say that I'm worthy,
Mm-hmm.
but another person say I'm not worthy
Yeah.
because my mom tells me that,
Mm-hmm.
or because I was raised in a family
Yeah.
that I should be be sitting on the side of the room
Mm-hmm.
and not get what I think I deserve.
Yeah.
How would you say that if that person feels that way, and how can this person change?
The thing is, you aren't worthy based on your circumstance. Like, you aren't worthy because you're rich or you're happy.
Yeah.
You are just worthy. Being worthy is not something we have to earn. We just are. We're born that way. We are literally born worthy. It's the world that makes us feel unworthy. So, like I said, whatever's making you feel unworthy, you have to cut that off. Cut yourself off from that story. Because the more, okay, maybe people will tell you that you're unworthy or they make you feel that way. But knowing that you're worthy, would you really believe them? What I mean by that is like, okay, you know the sky is blue, right?
Yes.
If I come to you and say the sky is purple, would you believe me?
Yes.
If I said the sky is purple,
Piper, no.
exactly, right?
I thought you said blue.
Yeah, no, but because you know the sky is blue.
Right,
That is
right.
just the truth in your mind. So
Right.
whatever I come and tell you, you're not going to believe it. If I go try to tell you that the sky is green, would you believe me? No, you wouldn't. Because you know for a fact it is the truth that the sky is blue. So when someone comes to you and tries to belittle you, tries to make you feel unworthy, tries to make you feel unwanted, or they're saying cruel things, if you really knew who you were, just like how you know the sky is blue, you know that you're worthy, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know that you're lovable, so it doesn't matter. You know that you're confident, so it doesn't matter. But if you believe that person, on some level, you actually believe that you're unworthy. If I said to you, like, I really hate your orange outfit right now. You're not wearing orange, so that doesn't make any sense. You know you're wearing black, so
Right.
anything I say about your outfit is gonna bounce right off of you.
Of course.
Like, I keep talking about your orange outfit. You're gonna look at me and think, what are you on? Like, what are you rambling on about? But that's how your self-worth has to be. Because when you truly know how valuable you are, you will not believe the insults and the backhanded compliments and all the pain people try and cause you. You wouldn't believe it. And when you don't believe it, it doesn't affect you.
Yes.
Doesn't affect you.
100%. Wow. Okay. That's a very powerful message right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Okay. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh my god, that was quite a discussion.
Yeah.
Meditation. I'm gonna go home and start meditating.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too.
Okay. So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did
So
it.
I think this guy said we only have like 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So honestly,
that was crazy. I love the hater segment. That was so funny. That was so funny.
Yeah.
To all my haters, I love you. That was so perfect. Honestly, that was so perfect.
I did that on purpose.
That was perfect. Because any podcast clip I posted about haters is always gone viral.
You can put it on your Instagram and be like, haters.
To all the haters
I know
out
you're
there.
watching.
Yeah.
I love you.
You need a clickbaity title for each video.
Yes.
That's what I do, because it catches people's attention. Like, you got 3 seconds where they just scroll away, right?
Absolutely.
So I've learned over time what kind of titles work, and I have actually put out a few podcast clips. I'll send them to you later about haters. They've all done crazy numbers because people get really triggered, even if they weren't haters before. Even if they came across my channel, they become haters. That was probably my favorite. That's really
I can't
funny.
wait for them to watch our video.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy. We're gonna get so many haters, man.
But I did love when you said love yourself. I never
Yeah.
thought of that way because I always tell them I love you.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because when I look at them hating on me, I'm like, I understand. Like, I understand why you hate on me because you rich that you're doing what I'm doing, but you couldn't because you let your fear take over you.
Yeah.
You let your limiting beliefs take over you, right? But that's why I say I love you. It's okay.
No, but you know what it is? I've learned this the hard way, that even if you love them, it doesn't matter. They're still gonna hate you. And the real issue is that they don't love themselves. That's the real issue.
So when you say love yourself, how do you think that would affect on them?
Because if they truly love themselves, they wouldn't be hating on us. It's a fact.
Right. But what
guess
I mean,
what? Their self-worth is high, so they're not dragging other people down. When someone hates on you, they want to make you feel bad.
Right.
They want to invoke a certain emotion. Let's say if someone says, oh, I hate the way you look. What are they trying to do? They're trying to make you insecure about yourself, right? So you're going to read that comment and you're going to believe that. And you're going to become insecure about how you look. Now, the only reason why that person commented that is because probably they don't feel beautiful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it really is just a projection.
Yeah.
Like you and me, do we hate on other people's podcasts? No, we don't. We're not typing long messages on it because we know who we are. You know, we're busy people. We don't have time. Like,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there was this one story. Like I don't talk about this, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you because I've had so many times, so many experiences, so many situations where people would tell me that something,
yeah.
and I realized it's actually them.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one person,
Yeah.
like recently, very recently, we got into like an argument, whatever,
Mhm.
right? We got into an argument, and all of a sudden, this person said, "Mark my word, you will be forever alone."
Wow.
But I look back to myself. I used to be very close with this person, and this person would cry to me and
Yeah.
ask me, "Do you think I'm gonna be alone? Do you think I'm
See,
gonna be like?"
yeah.
She was like, this person was like crying,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "No, you're not gonna be alone." But when we get to a fight, and arguments brings people's triggers.
Yeah, it really does. No, I would say arguments bring the truth because that person has been wanting to say it for a long time,
Yeah.
but in their anger, it just came out. There was one argument I had. This was a while back,
Yeah.
and this person really wanted to become an actor. Like I'm talking about desperately wanting to become an actor. Now I tried to tell this person, if you want to be an actor, you have to have a strategy, right? Like Steven Spielberg isn't gonna come knocking on your door, right? You want to audition, you want to get yourself out there, you want to attend networking events. Instead, this person, instead of listening to my advice, which was actually like constructive, like it was supposed to help you, this man has a fit on me, an actual fit on me.
Right.
Had the biggest fit on me and basically said, you're never gonna become successful.
Right.
Everything you put your mind at to, you're gonna fail. All your dreams are gonna become nightmares. Do you know what happened to that person? That person's a Postmates driver now. And I'm an award-winning author.
Oh, no.
Because didn't listen. There was no reason. We just fell out because of that. Like I was trying to help this person, but